Product managers. 68% of hiring managers can now detect an AI-generated resume. And a third of them say that they spot it within 20 seconds. And 47% of companies have updated their interview techniques this year, specifically because they assume that your entire application was AI assisted. So here's what's happening. You spent an hour in ChatGPT polishing your resume. You feel good about it. It's tight. It's optimized. Every bullet starts with a strong action verb. And you submit it thinking that you've got an edge, but you don't have an edge. You had the same resume as 500 other applicants who did the exact same thing. And it gets worse from here because the interview is where it all falls apart. That's what this video is about. AI didn't make your job search easier. It made everyone's application look the same, and it made the interview the only thing that matters. And most product managers are completely unprepared for what's changed. So let's talk about the first thing, the AI sameness problem. Let me walk you through what a hiring manager actually sees right now. They open your resume and it said, spearheaded cross-functional alignment to drive strategic product outcomes, resulting in 25% improvement in key business metrics. Then they open the next resume. It says, led cross-functional initiatives to deliver strategic product outcomes, achieving 30% improvement in core KPIs. Then the next one, same structure, same vocabulary, same optimization, because it's all written by ChatGPT. They've seen 50 of those this week. Yours doesn't stand out. It blends in with the machine-generated finish. Now, here's the irony. AI is supposed to make your resume better. But when everyone uses the same tool, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, to optimize against the same patterns, you get sameness, not differentiation. You get polish without any positioning. And hiring managers are completely tuned to it now. As humans, we can recognize AI writing. They're not reading for grammar or formatting anymore. They're reading for signal, for specificity, for something that sounds like a real human who did real work, not a language model that summarized a job description. What they're looking for are specific decisions you made, not generic outcomes that you drove. Actual trade-off, the actual risk, the actual number. Language that sounds like how you'd explain it over coffee, not how a prompt template structures it. A narrative thread that connects your experience to the role, not a keyword-optimized bullet list. Now, what are they filtering out? Buzzword density without any substance, leverage, spearheaded, and the worst of all, synergized. That's the worst. Perfect structure bullets that all sound the same. Outcomes with zero context, like improve retention 20%, meaning nothing if you don't know the situation, the decision, the stakes. What did that retention increase lead to? Why was it so critical for the company? You have to tell that even in your resume. And the uncanny valley of a resume that's too polished for the person behind it. That last one is the killer because the resume creates an expectation and the interview is where that expectation gets confirmed or totally destroyed. And then there's the trust gap. This is the part no one's talking about. Your resume says spearheaded cross-functional alignment to drive strategic product outcomes. Okay, maybe you get the interview. The interviewer asks, tell me about that cross-functional work. What actually happened? And suddenly, this gap between your polished resume and how you sound. Your resume sounds like, maybe this was like a very senior person, a VP, a director, depending on the company. Your answer sounds like you're searching for what you actually did, like a junior level PM, because the resume was written by AI, but the interview has to be answered by you. That gap is a trust killer. The interviewer doesn't think, oh, they just had help writing their resume. They think, this person can't back up their own story. What else here is inflated? What else is AI? How much of this is the real person? And once that trust breaks, it's over. Every answer after that, they just don't believe it. They're skeptical. You could say something genuinely impressive and they'll wonder, is that really true? Or is this person making shit up? I see this constantly when I'm coaching product managers. People who seem amazing on paper, they completely suck in conversation. True story. Not because they lack the experience, but because they outsource the articulation of that experience to a machine, and now they can't even reproduce it live. Here's the rule. If you can say it in an interview the way it reads on your resume, it shouldn't be on your resume. Your resume needs to be natural and like how you sound. Your resume, your LinkedIn, your interview answers, and your casual conversation should all sound like the same person. Comes from the same script, the same narrative, because they are. And that alignment with everything thinking, that is what builds trust. And that trust is what gets you hired. Look, AI broke that alignment for a lot of people, and they don't even realize it. If you're watching this and thinking, that's exactly what happened to me, there's a fix. But it's not another round of ChatGPT prompts. Book a free strategy call with my team, and we'll look at how you're actually positioned right now. Resume, narrative, interview readiness, and show you where the gaps are. The link's in the description. Book the call now, and then keep watching. Now, here's the other side of this. It's not just that AI made your resume generic. It's that companies changed how they interview because of AI. 47% of companies updated their interview techniques this year. Now, here's what it looked like in practice. More live exercises. Companies are adding real-time product exercises, on-the-spot case studies, and live prioritization problems. Why? Because they can't trust that your polished behavioral answers are actually yours. They need to see you think, work with them, not perform your story is the best way. You get deeper follow-ups. Like, tell me about a time you led ambiguity. Let's say we talk about that. It used to be a single question. You talk about it 5 minutes. Now it's back and forth. They poke at every seam of your story. They ask for the second order consequences. They ask you what you do differently. They ask who disagreed and why. They're testing if this is a real story or have you rehearsed a narrative, something you memorized. Fake answers will not cut here. Companies are also prioritizing real-time thinking over rehearsed answers. They're weighing how you think in the room more than what you say, because what you say might be AI rehearsed, but how you think in real time, that can't be fake. So let me be direct about what this means for you. The product manager who wrote 15 star stories with ChatGPT is going to crumble the moment the interviewer goes off script. Off script is what's expected. The product manager who builds deep narratives that they actually own, who can read the room, who can adjust the level at which they answer, who can recover when something doesn't land, which is basically the product management job, that product manager thrives in the new format. AI raised the floor on preparation. Everyone shows up somewhat polished now, which means the ceiling, real-time adaptability, thinking under pressure, changing your communication, explaining complex concepts easily, the ability to think out loud with clarity. That's the only thing that really differentiates. Interviewer and the interviews just got smarter and harder. The question is whether your preparation matches them. Now, there's also the AI tools trap. And here's where I see experienced product managers making a second mistake. They hear AI is important and they go and add AI skills to their LinkedIn. ChatGPT, Claude, Midjourney, prompt engineering, whatever, agentic AI, maybe they get a certification and they think, perfect, I'm competitive now. Nope, you just look like everyone else. Again, 71% of hiring managers say they'd prefer a less experienced candidate with strong AI skills over a more experienced one without them. That's a real statistic, not something I made up. But here's what it actually means, not what you think. AI skills at the product management level doesn't mean knowing how to write better prompts. It means trade-offs with AI. So, can you identify where AI creates real product value versus where it's a feature looking for a problem? Can you evaluate build versus buy decisions on AI capabilities without needing engineering to decide everything? Can you define success metrics for AI features where the outcomes are probabilistic and not deterministic? Can you lead a team through the ambiguity of shipping something that works 85% of the time and decide, is that good enough? It's product judgment applied to AI, not AI tools bolted onto a product management resume. The experienced product managers who lose to less experienced candidates aren't losing because of like a skills and tools gap. They're losing because the junior candidate framed their AI work as product decisions. And the senior candidate framed theirs as tools that they've used. Frame the thinking, not the tooling. So what actually works? If AI can position you, what does? Your angle of mastery, the repeated pattern of problems you solve that no template can manufacture. Here's what I mean. Every product manager who's been in the game 8, 10, 15 years has a pattern. You might not see it yet, but it's there. It's the type of problem you keep getting pulled into. The types of situation where people come to you specifically. The thing you're known for, not because you put it on LinkedIn, but because it's actually true. Maybe you're the product manager who takes chaotic, undefined problem spaces and creates clarity. That was me. Maybe you're the one who builds products in regulated environments where everyone else gets stuck. Maybe you're the one who inherits broken teams and turns them into high-performing machines. Maybe you don't even know yet. But that pattern, that's your positioning. And it's something AI can generate because it comes from your actual career, not from a prompt, not from a few bullet points. It comes from deep thinking. So here's a quick exercise. Answer these 3 questions. What problems have you solved more than once? Across different companies, products, different teams. Not a feature that you share, a type of problem. I keep getting brought in when product has strong engagement, but conversion to paying customers is a challenge. That's a pattern. One of my students framed it as like this. People brought me in where other product managers had failed because of lack of structure, because the problem was undefined and everyone else wanted to stay away from that. But I loved those challenges and people brought me into that over and over again. We could frame that to 0 to 1 product where this person would be a perfect fit. Question number 2. When a peer or manager describes you to someone else, what do they say? Not your title, the thing that they actually say. Like, she's the person you bring in when you need to make sense of ambiguity, or he's the one who figures out how to get enterprise customers to adopt. That's your reputation. It's your positioning. Number 3, what's the outcome you've driven that you could credibly promise to do again? A repeatable outcome. That's your value proposition. Put these together, the problem pattern, the reputation, the repeatable outcomes, and you can have something that no AI can generate and no other candidate can copy. That's unique to you. And that's what belongs on your resume. That's what belongs in your interview. That's what makes a hiring manager say, this is the one, instead of this looks like the other 50. And here's the last piece. Once you have that angle of mastery, it needs to show up everywhere. Same person, every surface. Your resume leads with it. Not with AI-generated bullet points, but with the story of the problems that you solve. Your LinkedIn reflects it. Not with buzzword headlines, but with a narrative that makes the right people reach out to you. Your interview delivers it. Not with memorized star answers, but with the ability to tell any story from your career through the lens of that pattern. Your networking conversations landed. I'm the product manager who takes this type of problem and turns it into this outcome. I'm looking for teams where that's the challenge right now. That's alignment. And alignment is what builds trust. It's also authenticity, which further enhances trust. So you got to have both alignment and authenticity. When the resume, the LinkedIn, the interview, and the coffee chat all sound like the same person because they are, the hiring manager relaxes. They stop probing for inconsistencies. They start selling you on the role. And that's when you've actually won. That's when you land your dream role. So let's recap. AI made your resume look like everyone else's. Company responded by making interviews harder, more real time. And the product managers who actually are landing aren't the most polished. They're the most aligned. You now have awareness that AI polished resumes are being flagged, not rewarded. The trust gap framework. If you can stay it live, it shouldn't be on paper. The reality of how interviews changed in 2026. And what they're actually testing for. And the angle of mastery exercises. 3 questions that give you positioning that AI can't replicate. Now, don't let AI turn you into a commodity. You spent years building judgment, making decisions, and solving real problems. Make that visible. Make that yours. If you're sitting here thinking, I've been doing this wrong, you're not alone. Most experienced product managers are doing the same thing, and they're wondering the same thing. In our program, this is exactly what we fix first. We build your signature narrative, the story that makes you the obvious choice, not just a qualified candidate. We make sure your resume, your LinkedIn, and your interview all sound like the same leader. And we train you for the interview companies are actually running right now, not the ones from 5 years ago. Click the link in the description. Book a free strategy call. We'll show you exactly where your positioning breaks down and how to fix it. And if you're not ready for that yet, watch this next video where I break down why interview preparation is failing. And if you're not ready for that yet, watch this next video where I break down why your interview preparation is failing and what top product managers do instead. Stop blending in, start standing out.